The anime begins by depicting the aftermath of an alien attack. Even though the heroes continue their efforts, no significant threats have emerged since then. Only minor monsters remain, occasionally disturbing human life. One such monster is a reptilian creature with a long tongue and a perverted demeanor. Coincidentally, King, an S-class hero, is present at the scene. Standing silently with a fearsome gaze and an intimidating aura, King terrifies the monster, causing it to flee. Afterward, King calmly continues on his way to a game store, where he purchases a game titled Doki Doki Sister. Soon after, a robot-like monster appears, challenging King to a duel. However, before the fight begins, King asks for permission to use the restroom. The robot agrees, giving him 10 minutes and threatening to harm the nearby civilians if King doesn't return in time. Inside the restroom, King struggles to manage his fear. It turns out that King is an ordinary human without any superpowers, contrary to the rumors surrounding him. Years ago, during an encounter with a monster, someone else defeated the creature while King had his eyes closed. This misunderstanding led the Hero Association to believe King possessed incredible strength, and they subsequently appointed him as an S-class hero. In truth, King is a timid man who repeatedly finds himself caught in misunderstandings. Unable to face the robot, King runs away from the battle. Unexpectedly, Genos steps in, determined to confront the robot alone. Although Saitama offers his assistance, Genos insists on handling the fight himself, leaving the battlefield under his control. Saitama, uninterested in the fight, heads to King's home, where he finds him immersed in playing Doki Doki Sister. At that moment, Saitama questions King about why he fled the battlefield and is now playing games despite being the 7th-ranked S-class hero. Before King can respond, a giant crow monster suddenly attacks, but Saitama could easily stop the creature with one hand, while King is so terrified that he wets himself. In the end, Saitama swiftly defeats the monster with a single punch. After the incident, King confesses everything to Saitama. He admits that he has been pretending to be a hero and exploiting the misunderstanding about his abilities. King explains that he initially thought being a hero would be fun, but he soon realized the immense responsibility it entails. Unable to handle the pressure, King often contemplated leaving the Hero Association, but something always held him back. Meeting Saitama also triggered memories of his past, as it turned out that Saitama was the one who had saved him from monsters all along. Overcome with guilt, King breaks down in tears and apologizes for unintentionally taking the credit that rightfully belonged to Saitama. However, Saitama dismisses the apology, stating that he became a hero as a hobby, not for rankings or recognition. He assures King that he has no intention of exposing his secret. From that moment on, King grows to deeply respect Saitama, and the two develop a close friendship, often spending time together playing video games. Elsewhere, the Hero Association was seen discussing a prophecy foretelling a great catastrophe. Anticipating that the number of heroes might not be enough to confront the impending threat, they reluctantly sought cooperation from criminals. Among the gathered criminals was Garou, the strongest disciple of Silverfang, also known as Bang. In the past, while training under Bang, Garou suddenly went berserk, attacking all his fellow disciples. Following this incident, Bang expelled Garou from the dojo, leaving only one remaining student, Shiranko. Unexpectedly, Garou soon made his presence felt by defeating everyone around him, including 3 A-class heroes who were on patrol. Garou then boldly declared his allegiance to monsters. Despite being human, Garou harbored a deep desire to kill other humans, especially heroes. His body remained human, but his soul had become monstrous. Garou intentionally caused chaos to announce his declaration of war. Once his statement was made, he left the Hero Association behind. On the other hand, Fubuki, the top-ranked B-class hero, grew curious about Saitama and decided to seek him out. It was revealed that she was the younger sister of Tatsumaki, the second-ranked S-class hero. Sharing the same lineage, both were espers with psychic powers, though Tatsumaki was far stronger than Fubuki. During this time, Sonic, the speed ninja, was still fixated on defeating Saitama. As a result, both Fubuki and Sonic headed to Saitama's home, though Sonic arrived first and was intercepted by Genos. Knowing his intention to attack Saitama, the two immediately began an intense battle. 20 minutes later, Fubuki arrived at Saitama's house. Her goal was to recruit Saitama into her faction. Apparently, some heroes had formed factions to secure personal benefits, such as climbing the ranks more easily. The competitive nature among heroes often led them to undermine one another, much like Tank Top Tiger had done after their city was hit by a meteor. After learning of her intentions, Saitama immediately rejected the offer. From the start, Saitama never cared about rank or recognition. Frustrated by his indifference, Fubuki attacked Saitama with her psychic powers, but he effortlessly dodged her attacks. Approaching her calmly, Saitama stated that true heroes should never be underestimated. In the midst of their confrontation, a massive explosion interrupted them, caused by Genos and Sonic's ongoing battle. The blast prompted Fubuki to stop her attack, as she realized that Saitama had shielded her from the explosion. At that moment, Genos and Sonic continued their evenly matched fight. Annoyed by the prolonged conflict, Saitama decided to step in and end it. Despite Sonic's attempts to attack him, Saitama, now irritated, performed a sideways jump with incredible speed. The mere force of his sideways jump knocked Sonic back, effectively ending the battle. Afterward, Fubuki, who had initially sought to challenge Saitama, began to admire him. She was astonished to discover that Genos, an S-class hero, was actually Saitama's disciple. Her amazement grew when King arrived at Saitama's house, joining them. Fubuki was taken aback by how a B-class hero like Saitama could be so close to such powerful figures as King and Genos. What she didn't know, however, was that King was merely an ordinary man with no actual powers. The following days, Bang was seen expelling Shirenko from his dojo, claiming he lacked talent. Confused and upset, Shirenko visited Saitama to share what had happened. Upon hearing this, Genos explained the recent developments involving Garou. At that moment, Genos revealed that Garou had been officially classified as a monster, and Bang felt responsible for capturing him. Therefore, it was likely that Bang had expelled Shirenko to protect him from being targeted by Garou. That night, while Shirenko was on his way home, he encountered Garou, who was facing off against Mumen Rider, a C-class hero. Moments later, Tank Top Master, an A-class hero, arrived and relentlessly pursued Garou. As a result, a fierce battle ensued between Garou and Tank Top Master. At first, Tank Top Master seemed to have the upper hand, but Garou countered with the martial art he had learned from Bang, the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist. Using this technique, Garou defeated Tank Top Master and his subordinates. In the end, he also struck down Mumen Rider. Unable to stand by, Shirenko attempted to join the fight, but was swiftly defeated by Garou before leaving them injured. The following day, Saitama visited the hospital to check on Garou's victims. There, he met Mumen Rider, Tank Top Master, and Shirenko. Through their accounts, Saitama learned more about Garou. At that moment, Tank Top Master explained that Garou was an exceptionally skilled martial artist. Unlike heroes who typically develop techniques to defeat monsters, Garou had mastered lethal techniques designed to kill humans. Intrigued by the story, Saitama became fascinated with martial arts, expressing a sudden desire to fight someone skilled in it. He hoped such a battle would provide the excitement he had long been seeking, as he had always won his fights with a single punch. Saitama then approached Shirenko, who handed him a ticket to a martial arts tournament. Instantly intrigued, Saitama decided to participate in the tournament. Aside from seeking an exciting battle, he was also drawn to the prize of 3 million yen. Additionally, Saitama thought he might encounter Garou at the tournament. To disguise himself, Saitama purchased a wig and entered the competition under Shirenko's name. On the other hand, the Monster Association began executing its plans to take over the world under the orders of their leader, Orochi. They quickly deployed numerous monsters across various locations, causing widespread panic within the Hero Association. In response, the Hero Association mobilized heroes from C-class to S-class to combat the growing threat. At this point, 3 major conflicts were unfolding simultaneously: Garou targeting heroes, the Monster Association launching its assault, and Saitama competing in the martial arts tournament. The tournament featured fighters from a wide range of dojos, each representing different martial arts disciplines. Among the participants were several A-class heroes, including Inazuma. The tournament's top contenders were Bakuzan and Suiryu. In the first match, Saitama faced Akos. The fight was brief, as Saitama won with a single slap. In the second match, Suiryu battled Inazuma. Surprisingly, despite being an A-class hero, Inazuma was defeated by Suiryu with just one kick. Afterward, Saitama faced Bakuzan in the tournament. As expected, Saitama won with a single punch. Advancing through the rounds effortlessly, Saitama reached the final match, where he would face Suiryu. Soon after, the final battle began with Suiryu launching the first attack, successfully pushing Saitama back. However, throughout the fight, Saitama focused more on keeping his wig in place than avoiding Suiryu's attacks. At that moment, he wasn't concerned about getting hit, but the thought of his wig flying off and his true identity being exposed was his primary worry. Meanwhile, impressed by Saitama's speed, Suiryu became curious and asked about his daily life. Saitama then casually replied that he spent his days fighting monsters as a hero. However, Suiryu was disappointed by this answer. It turned out that he disliked heroes, believing they were hypocrites who sought money and fame under the guise of justice. To some extent, Suiryu wasn't wrong. Heroes like Tank Top Tiger or Fubuki fit this description. However, Suiryu unfairly generalized all heroes as selfish, unaware that many, like Saitama, Genos, or Mumen Rider, genuinely sought to protect people. Saitama, angered by Suiryu's remarks, decided to teach him a lesson. Intentionally taking one of Suiryu's kicks, Saitama allowed his wig to fly off, exposing his identity. He then delivered a mock punch, strong enough to tear Suiryu's clothes, but leaving him unharmed. With the identity revealed, the match was declared finished after Saitama was disqualified for imitating Shirenko. It was Suiryu who was announced as the winner of the tournament. Unsatisfied with the outcome, Suiryu attacked Saitama with all his strength, but his attacks had no effect. In an unexpected twist, Suiryu accidentally got hit by Saitama's hip during the commotion, sending him flying out of the arena. In the end, Saitama walked away from the tournament, leaving Suiryu as the official winner. Meanwhile, chaos erupted across various parts of the city, including City Z, where a giant centipede monster appeared. Metal Bat, an S-class hero, stepped in to confront the creature. Unfortunately, his attacks had no effect, and he was beaten down. To make matters worse, Garou also arrived, targeting Metal Bat, who happened to be nearby. With no other option, Metal Bat was forced to abandon the fight against the giant centipede to face Garou. The two immediately engaged in an intense battle, with Metal Bat sustaining severe injuries. Just as Garou thought he had won, Metal Bat managed to stand again, ready to counterattack. However, before he could strike, his younger sister, Zenko, intervened, stopping her brother's attack. Zenko pleaded with Garou and her brother to end the fight. Surprisingly, Garou listened to Zenko and refrained from harming her. Despite being labeled a monster, Garou showed that he still had some goodness within him. He left the battlefield without causing further harm, while Metal Bat collapsed, unconscious from his injuries. Meanwhile, Metal Knight arrived on the battlefield to confront the giant centipede monster. Metal Knight, a hero who relies on advanced robotic technology controlled remotely, appeared ready for battle. However, as soon as he arrived, the monsters retreated, not out of fear, but because their mission was already complete. Their current objective was to kidnap the child of a high-ranking Hero Association official. In other cities, heroes were engaged in fierce battles against various monsters. Genos fought a cockroach monster, Fubuki faced the monster princess, Darkshine took on an amorphous creature, and Pig God battled the Medusa monster. Meanwhile, Tatsumaki successfully defeated a giant octopus monster. Back at the martial arts tournament, a powerful monster named Goketsu arrived. In the past, Goketsu was a human who had fought a monster and lost. He was taken to the Monster Association's headquarters, where he was offered a chance to join them. Wanting more power, Goketsu accepted and was given a monster cell to consume. After eating it, he transformed from a human into a monster. Now, Goketsu's mission was to recruit as many humans as possible to join the Monster Association. At the arena, Goketsu distributed monster cells to the tournament participants, offering them a choice: consume the cell and become a monster or face death. While some accepted, Suiryu shockingly refused to become a monster. Instead, he mustered his courage to fight the monsters in front of him. During the fight, Suiryu managed to hold his ground, but was no match for Bakuzen, who had already transformed into a monster. In the end, Suiryu was brutally beaten and left on the brink of death. Amid his despair, Saitama suddenly appeared. As always, the battle ended with a single punch. Not only did Saitama defeat Bakuzen, but he also defeated Goketsu and brought his head to Suiryu. This moment made Suiryu realize that true, selfless heroes did exist. Inspired by Saitama's actions, Suiryu developed a deep respect for him and, like Genos, asked to become Saitama's disciple. Saitama, however, flatly refused, leaving Suiryu rejected. Afterward, Saitama wandered the city, searching for more monsters to fight. Yet, as he walked, he felt the familiar emptiness that often consumed him. Saitama had hoped that fighting martial artists might bring him the excitement and fulfillment he craved, but it hadn't. Whether against monsters or skilled fighters, Saitama still won effortlessly. Deep down, Saitama longed for a challenge, a fight that could bring him satisfaction or a sense of thrill. Unfortunately, his unmatched strength left him unable to experience such feelings. Apparently, Saitama had reached the pinnacle of power, leaving him with no room for growth and no opponent capable of pushing his limits. During his journey, Saitama encountered King. For the first time, Saitama opened up about his feelings, sharing his frustrations and emptiness. Surprisingly, despite spending so much time with Genos, Saitama had never shared these thoughts with him. Somehow, King had grown closer to Saitama, forging a connection that even Genos didn't share. King then offered Saitama some advice, suggesting that his mindset was misguided. Seeking satisfaction in battle and believing he had already reached the pinnacle of strength were flawed perspectives. King pointed out that there were many meaningful things Saitama could do beyond fighting, such as becoming a true hero. King argued that while Saitama might appear selfless because he didn't care about rankings or fame, a true hero must possess a sense of justice and a willingness to sacrifice for others, quality Saitama had yet to fully embrace. Hearing this, Saitama gained some clarity. From that moment, he resolved to shift his focus from fighting for personal fulfillment to fighting to protect others. Unexpectedly, Garou, who was severely injured after a recent defeat by Watchdog Man, stumbled upon Saitama and King. Despite his condition, Garou couldn't suppress his urge to attack King. However, before he could do any harm, Saitama effortlessly kicked him aside. The next day, Garou regained consciousness and decided to rest to recover from his wounds. However, his hideout was soon surrounded by 8 heroes, 4 from A class and 4 from B class. Though injured, Garou bravely fought against all 8 of them. Initially, the battle was challenging, but as the strongest disciple of Bang, Garou defied expectations and managed to defeat all 8 heroes. Shortly after, Genos arrived at the scene. Exhausted from his previous battle, Garou struggled to keep up and was nearly defeated by Genos. At the last moment, Bang appeared alongside his brother Bomb. They intervened and demanded that Genos leave Garou to them. As a result, Bang attacked Garou relentlessly, holding nothing back. In the midst of their intense battle, a group of monsters suddenly appeared. A giant bird monster rescued Garou, revealing that the Monster Association sympathized with him because they shared the same goal, targeting heroes. Alongside the bird monster, the giant centipede monster also joined the battle. Realizing the threat, Bang, Bomb, and Genos combined their efforts to fight the giant centipede monster. Despite their powerful teamwork, they could only damage its outer shell. The monster remained undefeated. Shortly afterward, King arrived at the battlefield. Using a loudspeaker, he taunted the giant centipede monster, luring it toward him. At the perfect moment, Saitama appeared and, with a single punch, obliterated the monster completely. The giant centipede was finally defeated, while Garou was taken to the Monster Association's headquarters, where his fate awaited. Moral lesson from the story: even if you are the weakest person in the room, just appear intimidating, and everyone will believe that you are a legend. However, pretending too much will also make the situation complicated, so look for a bald man with real punch to solve all your problems.